What is up, bros? All right, so first want to start the video with I was doing a chest fly and I was kind of describing the workout and stuff, and the audio didn't get picked up. I'm not really sure why. It seems to have worked for the rest of the videos that I've looked at, but for that one in particular it didn't. So, I'm gonna kind of voice over that real quick, but other than that, the video will be just like normal. Just want to say appreciate every single one of you guys for clicking on the video. Make sure you like it, hit the subscription, button, like it's OnlyFans. But this is free and I'm just giving you free ball knowledge. All right, you guys probably have been wondering where I'm at. All I'm talking about here is that you can go watch my last video because that explains it. It's literally titled My Last Video. Additionally, I'm talking here about my shoulder pain. I have a little bit of shoulder pain on my right. Tried a couple other machines and can't really figure out what it is. So we're gonna lower the weight here, train around it. Obviously, we don't wanna limit our movement just because we're in pain. So let's get into this and I'll describe the rest of the workout as we go.
How do? You like me and I like you. Come and take me by the hand, cause I wanna be your friend. How do? You like me and I like you. Say how do you do? How do you do? When I'm going on a summer holiday and my plane leads to a place so far away, I'm so happy cause it's time to celebrate. Oh, I feel like I could dance. Whoa, different people all around the globe don't know what to say when there's a stranger. I will show that there is a way you can communicate. Everybody understand. How do? You like me and I like you. Come and take me by the hand, cause I wanna be your friend. How do? You like me and I like you. Say how do? How do you like me and I like you. Come and take me by the hand, cause I wanna be your friend. How do? You like me and I like you. Say how do?
That's not too bad. For not being my first exercise and still hitting 6, that's an improvement to last week. Something we're going to be doing this time is a preacher curl. You guys all know this pretty well. My favorite is not actually the preacher curl. This is also a very humbling exercise, obviously. But my go-to is like the inclined bench with the curl from the bottom. But this is a good one. I feel like I've been progressing on that one. So instead of hopping on, this is going to be my next go-to, is essentially just switching my workout order with these ones. And then if I can progress on these ones, whenever I go back to the other ones, probably going to spend at least 4 weeks doing this one. Or at least something similar to this one if this one doesn't feel good. Because these ones, I'm not going to lie, they always scare me with injury potential just based off of this. But, sometimes I just need to stop being a pussy. So Okay, so that was the lift. There's a couple things I didn't record. The first thing I did, which I've already mentioned before, assuming it made it into the video, was shoulder presses. I did it on a hammer strength, like seated at an angle. I personally like that one. I think it feels pretty good. I don't know how great it is. Maybe I'm not. I think I loaded it heavy enough realistically. Again, I don't want to completely cook my shoulder like absolute dog shit in this lighting, but you know, there's whatever. The other thing I did was I literally just did 2 sets of curls with like 45s. I think I got like 6 reps or 5 reps. I'm really trying to break that plateau on those 45s at that decline, so that's why I changed my exercises, which leads me on to the main point of this video. The reason why you're plateauing, the reason why you aren't necessarily getting stronger is because sometimes you do need to change things. Realistically, you don't need to fucking just, I'm not getting stronger, I need to hop on. No, that's not how that works. You might just need to change some stuff, you know? Don't get me wrong, I love doing some of the same exercises, but also if I stop progressing on them for a certain, consistently stop progressing, so like I'm just kind of plateauing pretty hard, I will either change up my exercise, or maybe I'll do it closer to the start of my workout. The other thing I'll do, is deload. So those are like 2 or 3 little helpful tips, Some things people don't really think about because, and this will kind of lead me, it'll be counteractive to what I'm going to say next, but I think a lot of people overcomplicate lifting and all that stuff. If you're a beginner, all you really need to do, bro, is just hit like your macros for the day, and that's it. Work out, sleep good. If your sleep is good, if your macros are good, and like your calories are good, you're gonna be fine. And you're lifting heavy as fuck, like not heavy as fuck to where you're super ego lifting, but like enough where you're pushing yourself consistently every single session, every single time you go into the gym. You're doing all you need to do. Everyone's like, this has to be hyper optimized and this, that, and the other. If you're doing it this way, or you're doing it that way, you're targeting this part of the, the bicep or the tricep or the fucking back. And like, I think it's pretty easy to fall into that trap, especially now with how much information as well as misinformation there is. So many people want to say, I'm an expert. Anyways, like I said, everyone's basically trying to push down your throats that you're not training optimally or stuff like that. And to a certain point, that definitely makes a difference. But if you're just getting into lifting, you do not need to worry about that shit. All you need to do is make sure you're training your ass off and you're eating decent and you're sleeping. That's it. When I say eating decent, like you can't just be eating out fucking In-N-Out burger every single time. And if you do, at least make sure it's within your calories, like for your maintenance. If you're trying to, be bigger, just add a couple, maybe like 200 more. You could still make decent gains with 100 more or 200 more calories than your maintenance. You don't need to push to 3,000 calories if your maintenance is 2,500. That's, it's something that I fell for sure, and I had to actually learn not to do. As well as sometimes you just don't look the way you do because, you're just not lean enough. I thought, like, obviously I wasn't super lean, but I still was not, like, what I would consider, like, I was what I would consider fat, but not, like, obese, basically. And just adding in 30 minutes of cardio on my upper days, right? So I'm hitting upper, lower, resting whenever I feel like I need to. I feel good, and we'll see how I feel tomorrow. I'll hit legs again tomorrow if I feel good, even though I hit upper today. But if I feel good, I'm just hitting cardio. I was doing cardio on my lower days, and I feel like I wasn't getting the recovery I needed. Plus, there's always that over optimization of doing this could actually, take away from the amount that you're getting muscle in your legs. And honestly, I kind of need all the help I can get with my legs. They're not a strong point they're not a strong point at all. So that's obviously something I want to improve on. But don't fall into the trap, of, all right, I was saying, sorry, my phone storage is getting full. It's still something I'm working with. But don't fall into the trap of over optimizing everything. Especially if you feel, lifting, if you're doing it just to be healthy and this, that, and the other, and you're kind of like, that's not my favorite thing to do, whatever. I'll turn off my phone there too. Let's see, there we go. you know, if you're doing it to be healthy and it's not like really fun and this, that, and the other, you're just kind of doing it because you have to. That's totally fine, right? But if you're doing it because you also enjoy it or you want to enjoy it, sometimes over optimizing everything can make shit not fun, you know? And a lot of it comes down to obviously how bad do you really want it? Are you getting paid for it, this, that, and the other? If it's not worth it to you, don't do that. There's gonna be other people who are genuinely obsessed with it. It's their life, it's this, that, the other, right? And there's obviously a lot of people who like, I'm not talking about the people who are like genuine pros, like there's those people, but then there's people who like treat it very seriously. And I'm not here to judge you or anything because I would say I take it fairly, you know, also fairly seriously. Realistically, like I try to optimize a lot, but I don't try to over optimize where I essentially like hate my life completely. There was times where I was doing that, and there's just stages of life realistically. So I'm not in a stage of life where I can over optimize everything, and sometimes I really just wish I could, but that's just not the case, and that's okay. But as soon as the stage of life comes back where I can, that's what I'm just gonna do, is over optimize, or at least optimize a lot. But if it's not worth that to you, don't do it. You know, sometimes, like I was saying, if you're just getting started, my main point, don't go, you know, straight to the deep end in terms of like not realizing, getting so confused about it, right? There's nothing wrong with jumping into the deep end and like, you know, really getting into it. But if it's to a point where you're like so confused about it, just stick with lift heavy, eat good, sleep good. 3 main things. And hydrate. 4 is definitely hydrate, but other than that, you're gonna be fine. Make sure you hit your cardio. I know most of you guys aren't hitting your cardio. I'm not Sam Stolk, so I'm not gonna tell you to do it. But you could be anything in life, and if you're choosing to be a fat cunt, you know, that's on you. Just hit your cardio. If you're fat, it's probably your fault. You know, I'm not even shredded, but once I get shredded, you know what I'm saying? Anyways, I know it's been a while. The lighting makes me look more like shit than I actually look. I'm sorry. I love all of you guys. There's like 42 of you guys. You guys have jumped up a lot in the amount of people who are subscribed to the channel, so I appreciate it. Here's a reminder to hit a like, hit the subscribe button if you're not. Most of you guys probably aren't who watch. The ones who are, I appreciate you guys so much from the bottom of my heart. Love you guys. I'll keep trying to put out more and more content. Obviously, weekly long videos is what I'm aiming for. If you don't know why I'm not posting as consistently, go watch my last video. It's literally titled My Last Video. And that's the reason. I'm not going to just re-explain it. That way you guys can go watch it, you know. Love you guys. Yeah, also, OJ plus Pre. It's not going to taste the greatest, but trust me, a little secret tip of the day.